Kunjani? Dumelang. Absheni. Africa. Mayibuye.
Africa.
Izwe lethu.
Africa.
Africa.
Izwe lethu.
Izwe lethu. Welcome to Soweto Storytelling. Another beautiful special night for us at Lebo Backpackers. We have different themes every month. We look at what's important, what's celebrated, what's popular in that month, and we change themes according to what we deem is more attractive or palatable for people. So for this month, it's Africa Day today. Luckily on this day, significantly on Africa Day, we have an Africa Day storytelling, and we couldn't have chosen a better person with all the people we had in mind to come and present what Africa Day should be, because we have Africa Day as a name, but some people say Africa Liberation, some say African Freedom. But when we say Africa Day, what are we really celebrating? So without going too much into that, Maria, I'm going to pass it to you to just welcome officially, and then we're going to open later on. I'm sure you'll have questions and answers at the end. People want to know what's going on. We'll give Mkhulu first the chance to present everything, and then at the end we'll all get a chance to interact and be able to talk and engage. So for now, I'm just going to open to Maria to open up for us officially.
Togosa. Sanbonani? Yes. Jambu? Ambarigani? Kunjani? Yes. Happy Africa Day. Yeah, no, it's just what Sep was saying. It feels, great and of significance to be here last Thursday of the month when we have Soweto storytelling, and it also coincides with actually celebrating Africa Day. And I'm sure we are a little bit also lost in the theme of Africa Day, but let's also dive into to the topic, to the day, and how also we have chosen to celebrate it here. I believe that we're gonna go deeper into really celebrating and conscientize ourselves into African heritage and African ancestral heritage. And I think also, no matter maybe where we were born or the color of our skin, we are all Africans. Humanity was born here, and even not even too far from this actual place is the cradle of humankind. So we all know that humanity was first discovered in Africa. So I think that's one of the very significant part of when we talk about Africa Day and heritage and where we come from as humans, as people. So very honored and very happy to be here in this circle around this fire once again. And just as a short background, some of you have joined us a few times, many times before. Some of you are here for the first time. But Soweto Storytelling is something that we are hosting on a monthly basis. We initiated a few years back just to be able to have an event and a gathering where we really maybe go back to also our roots as people, as humans, in terms of how also we used to share stories, and we used to socialize and try and connect to that heritage that we all share. So that's one of the significant part of the Soweto storytelling, and we always owe this event and this day and this space to Lebo, the founder of Lebo Soweto Backpackers, an entrepreneur and a proud African, a proud Pan-Africanist that wanted to use a space like this for something where you can create a bridge between cultures. You can celebrate Soweto, South Africa, Africa, and the culture and the history that you find here. So we all will always give thanks to our Lebo And we always remind ourselves that an evening like this is also to celebrate the legacy that he has left also in our hands to carry forward. My name is Maria, like Tsepo was saying, and I have a beautiful team, Team Lebo Soweto Backpackers. So thank you also to everyone who has made this evening possible. And yeah, let's dive into today's storytelling, tonight's storytelling. Mkhulu, I'm very pleased to have you with us around the fire. And yeah, let's start the evening. And Tsepo here is going to be able to moderate us through.
I feel so blessed tonight, and I hope you all feel the same. If you haven't met Mkhulu, today is a great chance to gather around the fire, around the pot, as we eat the food of wisdom. So please indulge. If you have a notebook, take notes, or do mental notes, because there is a lot of wealth and a lot of gems that you will pick up. So yeah, I'm going to pass to Mkhulu.
Oh, Thokozi, ngicela nje sisukume nje simeme mveli mncane. Abasesigodlweni bayazi ukuthi sivula kanjani. Mveli mncane.
Mveli mncane.
Mveli mncane.
Mveli mncane.
Mveli mncane.
Mveli mncane.
Nomkhubulwane.
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 Qamathi.
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 Antu.
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 Amulibelethi.
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 Amqaphikazi.
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 Anpu.
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 Siyabonga. Ngicela nje ukugcina just to end that. Angambi ngedwa namhlanje. I'm with the king of Amangwa. Those that know Bakeville. He is our king. He's my brother. When he heard that I'm coming especially to address the issue of Africa Day, he said, I'm not remaining. Ngicela nje simhlonipheni. Bayethe.
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 Ndabezitha.
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 Thank you, Chef. Thank you so much. Thank you for everyone that is here to come and give us an ear in terms of just articulating the position which should be on the mainstream, but it's not. It's not getting airtime, especially what Indlovukazi said. Ukuthi the origins of humanity are here. So therefore, it means that all people in the world are black. The problem is the denial that is putting us into conflict. And, the perpetual suppression of the truth. That's why we end up in this confusion. There's hate. There's all sorts of, things in the world. But, at some point we've got to come up and accept that reality, that Africa is the mother continent. And for us to be able to rebuild the continent, we need to rebuild it in the most honest way. We can't, continue doing wrong things that don't align with the energy flow of the continent. Africa is a very spiritual place. Spirituality should rule, not ego and self-preservation. Everything that we do, it has got to create a resonance between Izulu nomhlaba, heaven and earth. Meaning that everything, every decision has got to be informed by timing timing is everything. You know what gestures to do at what time. This is how Africa was ruled during the reign of the kings. Africa is the land that should be ruled by kings and queens, not what is prevalent currently on the continent, because we are now dominated by foreign philosophy. African philosophy is dead. Ukehla lapha was reminding me that he met my teacher Ubab Credo. Ubab Credo mutwa uye umhlahlandlela. He opened the way for many of us to be able to be educated as to what it is to be an African person. And showed us a lot in terms of what Africa achieved before colonization. Colonization which still continues on the continent today. It's something that started a long time ago. And ever since Africa was colonized, Africa has never been the same. We've just been in slave mentality all along. Ever since we took a position that the custodian of the land, the kings and queens, are nothing because they have not been educated in the Western way. That is where we went wrong. And the day we accepted the Western Trinity that says the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost, we fell at that point because we are not acknowledging the female energy. And the African Trinity is the Father, the Mother, and the Son, or daughter. So this is where we went wrong. This day for us, it's not a celebration, but it's a lamentation. It should remind us where and how we fell as African people. Because we then found that some of the African political leaders who were active at the time, who were targeted by Europeans to go and train them in the Western philosophy. They went, all of them, to master the Western system. That's why they were then chosen as leaders that represents Africa. And yet they know in the African context, you can't just rise up and say, I'm a leader. You must come from a royal house. That is the truth. So therefore, they then gave themselves these positions of leading Africans. Why? Because they have been trained very well to be able to handle what the colonizers started. The republics on the continent. They gave you freedom, but they say, go ahead, continue with the republic. Because they know that when you continue with the republic, you are forever under their control. The people that accepted to preside over republics, they took a wrong decision, because Africa can never be ruled by a foreign philosophy and for us to be normal. It's abnormal, it doesn't resonate with the African energy. So therefore it was wrong, as much as we respected all of them. Kwame Nkrumah, Nyerere, all of them. We viewed them as our leaders. And why? Because we never got time to actually question what they were doing. Like here in South Africa in '94, we're so much, happy to get the freedom in brackets. We never question what decisions have been taken in Kodesa. We agreed to everything because we wanted to be free from these shackles. It's only now that we then say, what did we achieve in Kotesa? Achieve fuck all. We don't have the land, we don't have the economy. Remember, Guti, it's not only the land that was taken, but the economy. At home, we had more than 1 million cows. If those that know King Matiwan, they will know how wealthy he was. All that wealth was taken, were left in poverty. So these are the truths that should be laid down if we are to build Africa. Because we can no longer patch on the cracks of the foundation. What should have happened in '94, we're supposed to destroy in order to build afresh. But we didn't do that. Worst part of it, they are ruling us in those houses where our murder was being planned. So where are we going to get, how are we going to be normal in that situation? Because ngesizulu kuthiwa ayibuseli phezu kwenye. When a new king comes, we must go and look for a new side, so that the energy of that side resonates with the core of his or her being. So these are Africans who purport to be leaders today, who are no longer guided by the spirit of the continent, but they are guided by a document that represents theft. When you talk about the South African or the African constitutions, they represent theft, all of them. Because how they formed these republics, they balkanized our land. And that land is still under those, institutions. So this is what must be liberated. And in the honest, truth is that politicians have got no mandate to rule the land. Politicians didn't invite the custodians of the land in Kotesa. So it means everything that was discussed in Kotesa is null and void. Because no king signed to give these politicians mandate for them to continue with what they are continuing. Because it doesn't work for us. For us, it's like it was just, we're just being pacified and being sold an illusion that it is freedom. What freedom? When I'm still staying in a concentration camp. Soweto is a concentration camp. It's not a place how people should live. These places should be destroyed or be returned back as farms. There's too much land for us. Each and every family deserves isibaya. There must be a kraal. There must be enough garden for the family to survive on its own. Not all the... Then they say people from a township, their mentality is messed up. How am I going to be normal in this, crampy space? How am I going to be normal in this crampy space? So these are the foundations. So therefore, we are saying that even the OAU, the Organization of African Unity, the vision that it had in terms of African unity, it died at birth. Because as Abankwame Nkrumah were presenting it, there was an opposing side that said it mustn't be done, abruptly.
Thanks for the patience. We still have some things to cover up. So unfortunately, what happened? Paduma Kokosega writing us. She's recovering. She's probably going through a small fatigue, but she's fine now. We'll just continue with what we started.
Thokoza. I said Thokoza. You know, Bensacho, I was still trying to explain that us accepting republics as normal, we normalized colonization. We allowed a structure that wasn't supposed, you know, to exist. Why? Because of this thing we call the generational curse, which is self-preservation. This is what killed us, you know. I normally watch white people in Europe. They say that Africans are easily bribed. You just bring a suitcase of money, you get everything that you want. So it's a generational curse. We can't always be thinking up with our stomachs, you know, because the future or the decisions that we make now are decisions that are going to affect generations to come. So, which is why it is us, this generation, to fix this thing, you know, so that we take back the power to where it belongs. Power doesn't belong to politicians. Power belongs to us, but through our kings and queens. So this is where the power resides. So the future of the continent is going to be determined by those people who arise, you know, and take their rightful positions. But even with our royalty, it has been corrupted. You know, the sitting structure of our royals, most of them were imposed by apartheid, you know, system. Every king that was opposing colonization, they were either killed or deposed. So therefore, we need to clean that structure first, because we can't be led by people who are easily bought. Any person from a royal house, if you have a royal blood, those are people who can never be bought. They would rather starve. Like you see my king. Hey, he's in a situation whereby the wrong people are enjoying what he's supposed to be enjoying. He's a typical example of what is happening in our royal structures. Why? Because he refused to be a constitutional monarch. Therefore, he's isolated. Even in Bergville, there's no development because Amangwane refuses to be part of this mess. It is a mess, and the land of Bergville belongs to Amangwane. That is the truth that can never be changed. It's just a matter of time that things are going to be normal again, and he will be normal. And these are the people that will rally, you know, behind them, because they resisted each and every temptation that was brought to them. There are so many things they enticed him, you know, with taking a princess, taking this and that, you know, cars will just be delivered the next day. But his conscience couldn't allow him to do that, because he came to me and he said, I will take all these things, but how am I going to answer to my ancestors as to I decided to make situation better for me and my immediate family, but what about the rest of Amangwane? So these are the people who are now sitting lavishing in poverty like us, all of us. He's like that. But a time now is coming where he will come and sit in his rightful position, not to be a constitutional monarch, but to be a king of Amangwane. So this is a very important lesson, and for us to prepare our minds for a future. If future doesn't involve politics. So if you are wise enough, take that note. If future doesn't involve politics, politicians have got no land. The land belongs to Amakos, Namakosikas, on behalf of the people. So the day Abondabezita rises and demand their rightful position, there will be no land for the Republic of South Africa. That is the truth that we need to acknowledge, and know that this day, always we remind ourselves on how we felt as African people. And this is what is demanded by us. We can't say we are representing our ancestors. And we continue Nobudwembe, selling out all the time, busy, filling up our pockets. Look at ESCOM. There's no money to fix. They've finished it. Then you tell those are African leaders. You can't be an African leader when it means nothing for you to have a generator, whilst somebody who is voting for you suffers. Huh? Even the children, the life that they live here in townships. You can't compare children who are raised in suburbs with those that are raised here. In the first place, how many years have we gotten this so-called freedom? Over 20 years. But nobody even thinks that we are stuck in a concentration camp. They're busy, talking about Jews concentration camps, but they've normalized our concentration camps. We have done so ourselves. We call them Kaslam, Kaslako Gupila. These are things that makes us abnormal as a people. And another thing, we are too quiet. These people are doing all these things to us, but it's okay, it's normal. They have a right to abuse us. Remember what the UN said in 1974. South Africa, or the Republic of South Africa, is crime against humanity. That is the structure, that was ruling us during apartheid. That structure continues today under a black leader. It's like you've taken a white horse, just use black paint and change the jockey. The horse is the same. So we can't talk about freedom when we are in that mess. And that mess, we've got to correct it, properly. Things have got to go back to where they were. Even in terms of, spirituality. We are at war with our own people. The other day we're banning Bibles. They are so offended. Why are you banning the word of God? What God are you talking about? Huh? Unknowable God, that's what they say to you. Just believe. African spirituality doesn't believe, it knows. Because African spirituality is science.
Amen.
We know, it's not a question of belief. No. Why would black people then have a problem when we are sanitizing our minds? Because in the African calendar, this is the month of purifying the mind. Meaning that we need to clean the mind of all colonial structures in our minds so that we go back and be normal again. Hey, don't look at me when I'm wearing an ankh. Then you say I'm Illuminati. You see me wearing uchat. You know, the eye of Heru. Oh, Illuminati. You forget that this is African science. Huh? The binary code is from this 0 and 1. The binary code that you use in your computers. This is African science. You look at the eye of Heru. It represents your pineal gland. Isolomoya. When this one is dead, these are useless. Hey, when this one is dead, these are useless. So, with all this, we are trying to reactivate and re-energize our atoms so that the atoms agree. Now, when you are lost, they've captured your mentality, your psychology is twisted. They twisted it the day they gave you a calendar that doesn't align with the energy of the Southern Hemisphere.
Hey.
They give you a calendar that is based on the Northern Hemisphere. And we are on the Southern Hemisphere. It means everything that we've been doing ever since we were colonized is misaligned. How are we going to live like that? We are going against the natural flow of energy on the Southern Hemisphere. And the African calendar, the oldest calendar in the world, it's here in Mpumalanga. It confirms that we are in a special place on the continent where civilization began. Civilization started here. Right here in the south. When they check the DNA of the original Batoa people, they trace that DNA to here, the southern part of the continent. And I think we should also advocate for the changing of the name Africa. It's tainted, it has so much negativity. We need to go back to the original name Kemet. There's so much value in that name. There's so much heritage linked to that name. So that, we change our mindset. So this day, we use it to educate each other about all these matters. We see them in government celebrating. Yes, they would celebrate because there's no government on the continent that represents black people. That's why poverty, instead of, lessening, it's becoming worse. And we are the richest, one of the richest continents. We should, actually I was saying, no person in Africa should be poor or starving. Because there's so much wealth here. I was saying here in South Africa, a government can afford, if our resources were managed properly, to give all of us $1 million a year.
Yes.
But that won't happen. It's like electricity. Here's a technology there. Just here, the oldest pyramids in the world are here in Mpumalanga. They are older than the pyramids of Giza. And those were electricity generating structures. Instead of investigating how we can enhance the energy of the sun and give people free electricity. Huh? We're still in that mentality of medicine that people should pay for electricity. Why should I pay for something that is free? Huh? Does the Creator make you pay for breathing? No. The hydrogen. The Creator, the sun, produces hydrogen. And without hydrogen and oxygen, there's no life. The energy from the moon and the sun, there's no life on earth. Do these cosmic bodies charge us? So why must then we pay for water? Ihlazo eBedville, ezweni likaNdabezitha, there's so much water. Beneath and under. But people in their houses don't have water. Where's justice? The water that supplies Gauteng is from Bergville. Because just over the Drakensberg Mountain, Lesotho, then Lehlele ngapha, Uthukela, the source of Uthukela, Sukele Bergville. They supply, so, you know, all Gauteng. But ignore the source. Where's justice there? It's your Democrats. We are now calling us Democrats. We are not Democrats, Tina. We are kings and queens. Amakosana na makosazana. Hey, don't lower your standards. Hey, fana Indlovukazi, you should stop calling for 50-50. You are above indoda because singakho sithi uyinkosikazi. You are above a king. So why must you lower yourself and equal your son because you gave birth to the king? So the king can never equal you. So stop being confused by Western philosophy. We have our own philosophy, that Ubab Credo, about Shekhanta Diop, about Ivan van Sertima, about King, George James, about Mfundishi, about Kabaka Mene. They've left all this content for us to be able to reconnect back to the past. The glory of the continent. And once you unlock that truth, and you use the calendar as well, so that we are always, in creating resonance between Israel and Nomhlaba. Don't ask for things that can only be given in winter. You ask them when in summer. Huh? Like the Father Christmas wearing all those jackets in summer. What's that? He's sweating. Why? Because this is the southern hemisphere. When it's summer here, it's winter that side. He's not supposed to be doing all those things. But look at the government is promoting that. Pumping a lot of money in such a, useless thing. When it comes to the real new year in September, nature confirms. Everything starts greening. Government does nothing. Then you then question what type of leaders do we have. You see, whoever controls or dictates time for you controls your mind. Who said that when you wake up you've lost already 6 hours? Who told you that? Because what determines time is the rising of the sun. What is 7 is supposed to be the first hour of the day. Then you calculate from that and you reach 6, which is supposed to be 12. We have 12 hours of the day. From there to next morning is another 12, which completes 22. But we are in that mess because we agreed. Westerners moved us from what is called the true meridian, which was calculated right at the Great Pyramid there in Giza, the center of Earth. This is where the true meridian was. Then Westerners came, they moved us to the Greenwich meridian because this is what was dictated by the Queen. So we are out of alignment completely. Your protons, electrons are confused. How are you going to be normal? That's why they can then control us. Because they've already confused us. You wake up, you say 7. 7. But the sun has just risen. How is it 7 o'clock?
It's 1.
It's madness. It's supposed to be 1, the first hour of the day. But this is how we no longer even question those things. Because we are out of alignment. Tina, we are nature people. In nature guides us. That's why our calendar. You'll never hear kuthiwa no inyanga kaButhelezi le. Inyanga kaMasikhukhuni. Like the Gregorian. Julius, July. August, Augustus. Self-preservation. Tina, we're guided by what is prevalent in nature. Our months are named based on what is prevalent in nature. Yes, Zulu. September is called Mandulo. We're going back where we started the last cycle. Hey, and then look at you December. NgesiZulu, uZibandlela. It's a month of majority. You can't then start the year on the 1st of January. What is that nonsense? When everything is mature, scientifically impossible for us to start on the 1st of January. So, this group of cabal that is ruling the world has got us all in this confusion. So we need to decolonize and purify, especially this month. This is the month of Sekhmet. 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 Hey, according to the African calendar, is the month of Sekhmet, the purifier. Purifies with fire. Fire. You know, everything that violates the laws of Ma'at is purified this season. Meaning what we need to purify our mind so that we get rid of all these shackles in our mind so that we become normal again. It's not normal for us to be the majority in the country, but we are the poorest people. We are on the lowest ladder. Huh? Even in terms of land, when they look at the state, it's about 2% held by black people. Indians are 4%. Think white people 7 or something like, or 30 something or 80 something. Hey, but you see the scales are imbalanced. So therefore, it's a recipe for disaster. If you want to see this country burn, continue that way, because you know, automatically there is this revolution that is happening. Remember, we are in the age of Aquarius, and Aquarius is ruled by Ma'at. We're on the, you know, we're from the age of Pisces, which was ruled by Set. You know Set, Umpidlis, the destroyer. So that's why that age is now finished. We need to then balance the scales again, so that all that was taken must be returned to its own position. And this is the natural, you know, energy that is dictating that, and you know, nobody can stop that. Mausendleleni umoya uyakududula. So if you are wise enough, align, or you get, you know, dudula. By umoya. Thokozani sengikhulumile asingayengeja
Okay, we've come to a part where we can engage. I'm sure I'm going to be the first one just to break the ice. Mini question it's based on the perception, or rather something I've been noticing in observation here. Poverty will create lack of dignity. When you don't have food, even your mind doesn't function properly. You end up going out of your true nature, I would say. So I would maybe think that food security would be a solution, so that maybe each family or each individual may have a means to balance. You have a means for the day to survive, so that that's out of the way. So my question to you, or what's your opinion on food security for black people especially, because we don't have dignity, because we don't have food, we are poor.
Sure.
Even from the clothes we wear.
Sure.
So because I'm poor.
Hey. I think when we should look at it the other way around. It has got to be spiritual security first, because a spiritually conscious person will never go hungry. You understand? Because African spirituality teaches you to be independent. That's why our ancestors said in their places of higher learning, know yourself. Know thyself. That was the heading there. Because self-knowledge tells me I don't need to be in South Africa for me to be able to express my purpose.
Yeah.
I can be in Japan as long as I know my talent and I'm confident in my talent. I can be in Russia. I will leave. So it has got to start there. Because when there's that mental liberation, there will be stomach liberation.
Okay, I'll open to... Okay, I've got a few hands. I'll go this way, ne? And to cover. Mr. V.
Thank you so much. As I said, I had the privilege, the honor of meeting Kreda Mutwa, the mentor of our speaker tonight, and I sat around the fire with him and he gave me his Emmanuel script of how the leopard got his spots and how the tortoise got his shell.
Sure.
And I've got the cassette and everything, and I'm going to give this to you, sir. When I find it in one of my garages, which I was mentioning. I got it somewhere. But the question, not the question I would like to ask, the statement is that with the colonization of the Portuguese and the Dutch and the English and the Queen and the Commonwealth, etc., it has impacted the biggest continent and the most profitable continent on earth so much that we have no more say in what we are. So we have so many minerals and raw minerals and the resources that the colonial people came and took it away. The diamond in the Queen's head belongs to us. King Leopold from Belgium chopped off hands. He made people Tutsis and Hutus, Tutsis and Hutus, said you are Tutsi, you are Hutu. The Portuguese, so we have been colonized and decolonized. But the decolonization with Codesa, as you mentioned, sir, how can we, as a rainbow nation which Mandela wanted, how can we go back to the monarchy and away from the constitution, because technology now is going to rule us. They already ruled us with COVID. They told us to stay, to eat, to come out, to go, to stop, to breathe. Now with technology we can have no currency. So my question to you is, how can we as a nation, a rainbow nation, with this decolonization and the food security and the dignity, how can we get that back? Must we fight for it? Must we be the Shona or the Dingaan or the Shaka take them on? Must we be Mugabe who goes to Lancaster House? What must we be? What must we be, sir?
Okay. Let's start with the Rainbow Nation concept.
Yes.
It's a farce.
Yes.
It's not true. It was just used to give us an illusion and create that perception that we must be welcoming. You won't go to England and find in their constitution they accommodate Tswanas. Right?
Nice.
When you are in Britain, you have to do as the British do. You have to learn their language.
Romans.
That's it. So even here, people have got to adopt. Those that are in Latin, they must adopt either Ngwane or Zulu culture or whatever, and know the cultures and fuse with the people and know the language. Because most of us, I've seen a lot of in these meetings, you'll find that there's only one white person and there are 6 black people. They will speak English just to accommodate you. Instead of you learning a Xhosa or Zulu. Do you understand? It's a deprivation, for us to be compromising. Because you are depriving other people to learn your culture and language. So there must be that thing, Uguti. If you are a white person and you are at a place of a Tswana king, You've got to speak Tswana and adopt that culture. Finish. In that way, it will normalize all these things. And the illusion that South Africa belongs to all, it doesn't work. This is an African country. It belongs to Africans. Then let Africans accommodate other people. Not the other way around, whereby Africans now are just so docile in their own place. Why are we like this, Van? How do we agree to be locked in these concentration camps? How do we agree? And when you project the future, there isn't even one political party that campaigns on the basis, I'm going to remove people from concentration camps we call townships. This is not normal. So, to answer you, we've got to be honest with each other. No manga business. You see, the time for our parents who made mistake is over. Now we've got to address things the way it's supposed to be so that there's harmony in the country. You know, any person that came here and naturalized, they must acknowledge the indigenous people of this land. And that land belongs to them. So it's for them not to, this is the mistake they did in 94. In 94, instead of empowering directly black people, they would say, no, go and get a company. White people, they give the contract, then white people are looking for. You remember that thing where people now are fronting? That's what started fronting. Because they were supposed to empower black people. Here's a contract. Go and look for a technical partner and a financial partner, but the contract is yours. So we have been shortchanged in that way. And we cannot continue in that way, as well. That's why I'm saying, for us to have harmony in this continent, because it's not only a South African problem, it's an African problem. All Africa is in this mess. So therefore, it has got to be fixed where? Here.
In Africa.
Where everything started. Remember, civilization started here. It was then refined in the north. So meaning that we are now back in that cycle. Look at what happens now in South Africa. South Africa hosts all Africans from the continent. They're all here. And before, we're all assembled in northern, Kemet, which is Egypt. You see, we are now going back. And this going back, it means we need to reconnect with the energy that was in Egypt. It's here now. We black people, we need to connect with this energy so that we start this revolution of bringing back Africa to its rightful position. So this thing is spiritual. The war we are facing is spiritual. It's not physical. We are not going to solve it with bombs. Tina solve ngani ngokuphahla. Because that's where the power is. You see, the clever blacks that they call, oh no, you guys are doing mambo jumbo. Mesiloko city feeling no Mkhulu. Bona bathi mambo jumbo. Kanti umoya uyabakoropa kancane. Kancane soze sifike la siyakhona. Ngomoya nje kuphela, because Africa has got to be ruled by spiritual leaders. Not leaders who are trained in the West and come and produce a professor of what? Prophesizing about Western, philosophy. I'm in Africa. Don't tell me about Einstein. Tell me about Imhotep, the real father of medicine. So you need to go back to that energy and revive that energy, because this is what needs to come up again. So black people naturally love harmony, and black people are peaceful by nature. So if all other people could understand that, when you approach us with respect. If you do that, everything will be pashasha for you. But if you come the other way around, we are in another cycle now. You see, myself and him, we will die for this. We've put our lives. If we have to die doing this, we are prepared to do that. So we are that generation getting. We are not going to allow the perpetuation of this colonial mindset on our continent. Thokoza.
I think we have the next question, Sister. You had a hand. Okay, who's the next one?
No, Jonas.
We're going around there.
Jonas. Okay, Tutala sister, then Rosabu Jonas.
Thokoza Mkhulu.
Thokoza.
Mkhulu, mina I always, after you spoke about the third eye, but I could not explain what was happening. So I'm a bit nervous. What was happening to me, and after I have analyzed what was happening to me, I got I focused on the questions. I don't know, but my mind or my third eye saw them, that in all that we have, in all that we've done, in all that we're talking about, in all that we're going through, not the questions in Northern Cape, but the questions in Botswana and Namibia, where, I don't know if they're in Malawi, I know the two in, but every time you come closer to them, they move away. And they're in the desert, and they are still wearing skins. They are still sitting by the fire, sharing one animal that they hunted as the village. Not it's I hunted, it's for me and my wife. No, we sit around the fire, we eat the animal. If it's not finished, we sing and dance the whole night until it's finished. When it's finished, we go and look for, there's a plant, I don't know the name, but there's a plant they look for to digest the animal. And they don't do cow, sheep, chicken. They don't own any domesticated animals. They go wild, which is what is wild? Wild is the setting of the creator. So they eat whatever that has been created without any modification and without any hybrid human intervention in it. Even their beer, it's some beer made from plants, fermentation and all that. So in all that we are doing and saying, I don't know, I hope, I was hoping that there will be sangomas tonight, because the moment you speak their language, they say to you, Meloyo Twasa. But I say to them, how do I wear the beads and the cloth? You know the cloth that we do. That is manufactured and it's made in London. You know? It's made in but no, there are ones that are made in London. There's China and there's London. But you know crickets, Soweto, that is made from London. How do I wear this cloth that you are telling me that Bokobela, when Obiziwe, Unomoya, Meloyo Twasa, Mele da da da. But all these things are not really made by us. But the questions every time we come closer, they move away. Who's crazy? Who's mad in this situation? So Mkhulu, please can you teach me about the questions and why they are not part of the cell phone, the telephone, the TV, the car, the mansions? They are still there, living, not knowing, hurry, now the storm is coming. If the storm is coming, you are told, yeah, it's coming, but Bona, if it comes, they trust in the one who's in them. And they were never taught about God, but they know him anyway.
When you talk about the Khoisan, you talk about our parents. They call them the Twa people. Ubab Credo Umutwa. So it belongs to that stock. Meaning they gave birth to us. This, we got this symbol from them, the Ankh. The technology that, or the spiritual, canon we call Kemet, is from Abahatwa. Because these are the first people on the continent. And they are all over. Back on Central Africa. They behave exactly the same. They don't want to mix with us because they see us as mad. We are living our lives out of tune with nature. So it means ukuthi, what we are doing is very abnormal for them because they are still connected. They use the natural clock, which is the sun. When it comes to 6 p.m., they prepare to sleep. To allow the melatonin to heal the body. You know, us, we put artificial light. Huh? This is detrimental to our system. Hey, it's like, you know, you're supposed to be sleeping now so that your body heals. Have you ever heard people who do the night shift? By Bizan?
66.
By Bizan?
Graveyard session.
Graveyard shift. Because scientifically, when the melatonin is there, right, and it's supposed to make you calm and you sleep so that it heals your body. When we are turning the clock, get down about 3. Then we wonder why we get older quicker. Do you understand? And the other thing I heard that melatonin, if you had slept late, right? Because the residue of that during the day is detrimental to the system. So therefore, when you wake up, whatever time you wake up, you need to go to the gym so that you become active and get rid of that residue in melatonin. Otherwise, it's destructive to your system. So, abatwa, these are the people who gave us civilization. When you talk about civilization, you're talking. Then there's a confusion in Cape Town, brought by, I don't know, that Afrikaner party. What do they call it? No, Freedom Plus. Yeah, they say that, oh no, when we came here, there were only Khoisan people. Huh? Hey, then they want to elevate what we call our brothers, the colours, over us. Tina, we were birthed by, we are a pure breed from Abatwa. Remember, Guti, the colored people, Ibazeganjan, Ashumata, and Van Riebeck. That's what created, the colored people. So therefore, this confusion, Guti, Africa, remember, Guti, Africa belonged to all of us. You could be here in Venda today, the next month you are in DRC, because you have a family there. So whilst I'm visiting my family in DRC, Jan van Riebeck lands and say he didn't find you, therefore you don't belong here. He's telling you that to Van Riebeck. No, these Freedom Front people, that's what they're saying. I left my parents to go and check my cousin in DRC. You arrive to colonize, you don't find me. When I return, you say, no, you were not here when we came. How silly is that? Yeah. It's very silly, it's crazy. It's because they are trying to remove the connection between yourself and the Batwa. So, what I'm saying, the colored people can never be above Tina. Tina, we are the people who are supposed to give them Siba and the Lusiko. A ritual must be done for them. Do you understand? They are our brothers and sisters, but they can't. What they are doing in Cape Town is wrong. For them to side with the Afrikaner people against us. It's crazy. But those are things, because remember, we are in the age of Ma'at. Ma'at is here to balance things. So don't stress about anything. All you have to do, Pasha. Pasha strong. Futungabizu Jesu. Jesu never existed, man. It's just a figment of Michelangelo's, imagination. Yeah. He was commissioned by Constantine. Hey, give me this figure that will look like this and that and that, to represent the God that I'm presenting, a fake God. They leave the sun. Huh? The sun, remember, the sun produces, or the sun burns carbon to produce hydrogen. And our DNA is bonded by hydrogen, Thokoza. So as long as the sun is there, we live. There's no other, Kokobet, we're not ambiguous about who the creator is. Now all of us, they say 87% of Africans are Christians. Hey, I heard even your leaders in the Council of Churches are insulting us for burning the Bible. And these are old people that say, man, what's wrong with you? I'm liberating myself, you have a problem with that. You made your own decision to take that decision to be a member of the Council of Churches. Huh? We don't need churches here. We need factories wherever there are churches. We need to put factories and the IT, industrial, whatever, development. Why churches? Why do we need churches?
For what?
Israel has led the way. Israel has banned Christianity and Jesus. When you preach about Jesus in Israel, you go to jail today. So what about us? What's happening? What's happening? The people in Israel say, we don't want this because it's fake. Well, now you are accepting it. Africans are sick, please. We need to heal. We need to heal. Aibo!
Thank you so much for blessing us with such valuable information. I mean, this information, you can't get it anywhere. You know, in books, in Google, you can't find this. So, Mkhulu, I have two questions for you. You've touched on Mpumalanga. So I wanted to know, is it Adam's calendar, a rocky drift? And my second question is about Africa as a whole. You touched on Kemet, like which was the ancient names, and also in my research, I know it as Kush, Al-Kabulan, and also Egypt or Ethiopia. The whole continent was known like that, you know. So my question is like, what is so mystical about these names that has like the colonizers that have stripped them out, that we don't know them as like current generation?
Sure. No, Thokoza. Hey, okay, thing to correct about the place, the oldest stone calendar in the world. It's not called Adam's calendar. This is what angered Bob Credo before he passed away. When he saw what Michael Tillinger wrote. Do you understand? Because that name was created by Michael Tillinger. Now he's crediting people who are outside. This is where Bob Credo said, racism must never be accommodated in science. Because when you are a scientist, you are looking for proof and facts. You can't then come and present things and be crediting Indian people and all people that we don't know. Who's Adam in the first place?
Who's Eve?
Who's Adam? Hey, instead of crediting Abatwa, because Abatwa who built that structure. So Inzalo Elanga, the birthplace of the sun. Inzalo Elanga, not Adam's calendar. Thokoza again. And the Kush is the first, but gave birth to Kemet. There could never be Kemet without Kush. Kush is Nubia. Kush is Ethiopia. Huh? Kush is Sudan. Do you understand? All that area is Kush. Kahle sonke. Hey, we are Kushites. So when you say Kush, you are evoking the necessary vibrational frequency for you to be heard. And even when you say Kemet, Huh? Remember ukuthi Egypt was given to us by the Greeks, right? And the Arabs basibiza Ethiopia, abanye basibiza Alkebulan. You know, there's another one where Zenj people. I don't know whether you know that name, Zenj. You know, before there's this professor, the English professor, who called us the Bantu people. Before we were called the Bantu people, we were called the Zenj people. Do you understand? But what the name that says Kemet, remember Kemet means black. Kemet means indlu emnyama. Hey, singayibiza ngendlela eyiningi, Sotho, whatever. Anything that represents black. And enye into, we should not shy away from being black. Because what's the color of carbon?
Black.
What is melanin? Black. It's carbon. Hey, so don't take that name because they present it to you as an insult. You have more melanin, right? And it gives you advantages in certain ways. Do you understand? So now, this is why it's important for us to evoke the proper vibrational frequencies. Mengithi umandulo. There's so much vibration there. Unlike mengithi September, how do you feel? You feel the difference. It's mandulo nesiqi. September ilibiki lento le. Because uyazi ukuthi ibizwe ngani. Senisho 14 ayisiqi. Singabantu besiqi. So namagama ethu mawuthi mvele ngani. Compare no God. Iphi vibrational frequency.
Tata Macholo in Soweto.
Yes, Tata Macholo. We are evoking the necessary vibrational frequency. So it's important for us to learn the old names. But one of the names that I choose personally, which is linked to so much heritage and history, is Kemet. We need to change the name of our continent from Africa. Because Italians, they claim it through Africanus, who conquered the northern part of Kemet. And there is what is called the Afar people, which are the originators of that name. But now it's associated with colonization. So for us to rebuild anew, we need to rename the continent.
What is Azania?
Azania, it has I know all of us here, we grew up Azania. But when you look at the links, it has an Arabic influence.
Okay.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
And the Azanian name, it's new. Okay. Kemet is older. Older than all of them. Do you understand? So, Tina, we mustn't be motivated by politics, but tomorrow.
Yes.
Ukuti, when I say Kemet, which spirits are awoken?
Yes.
When I say Kemet, Imhotep definitely. Hatshepsut definitely. Babu Credo definitely.
Yes.
Huh? Sheikh Anta Diop definitely.
Yeah.
Do you understand? So this is how we should, that's why, for other nations, a name is very important. Because when you say that name, it has got to invoke a certain spirit, that is associated with the principle of the nation. Thokoza.
Mkhulu Nsingiza. My name is Lerato. I'm part of the team here. A few days ago, I was so jealous. I saw Mkhulu Nsingiza. We did the poster. We're marketing this event, and then I see Dr. Umar Johnson and Nsingiza in Orlando East, and I'm sitting in load shedding. I'm like, where is this place? So, but I had to watch. I was so inspired. maybe some people won't even know who Dr. Umar Johnson. So I would like you to share with us, because I got small clips. But what was the value of such a interaction with a person like Dr. Umar Johnson, a Black American or African American scholar, probably the greatest Pan-African right now in America? That's from me following him. And he comes, he chooses his people who he's gonna meet, and you see from the caliber of the people he chose to meet, he's a Pan-African. Julius Malema, yourselves. Why he didn't choose Cyril Ramaphosa, our current president, the reason I wouldn't be surprised. But I would like for you to share with us, what does the value of an interaction like that, what does it mean, because it's not his first time coming, but it was the first time me seeing him in an Orlando East household, that was really, really powerful, very inspiring for some of us who are young. Yeah, so I really appreciate the interaction that you've given to us. We appreciate your presence to us. And that I find it very important that you broke it by saying that we're not celebrating Africa Day, because we are a business here. When we market it, we say we are celebrating. We are a business. But in reality, are we really? Are we even a rainbow nation? Because sometimes we say these things to be overly accommodating, and yet the people who colonize us exonerate themselves because of that. Because if you say rainbow nation, well, essentially what you are saying is that before justice, we can just unite.
No, sure.
Before those who are violated could reach is point zero.
No, sure.
Because we're not even asking for the government to do too much. We are saying, if we're talking about decolonization, is to undo the past. It's not really to excel to 5G and Africa being the leader of inventing today's technology. It's really saying what was happening 500 years ago, did we reach justice? Did those who gained that unjust power relinquish it at any point? And if they haven't, we're not just, and maybe we're not a rainbow nation until that point.
No, sure.
So yeah, I really appreciate that interaction, but for me, is to find out the experience with Dr. Umar Johnson.
Ifatunde.
Ifatunde.
Dr. Ifatunde. Bukakesh. It was very, very inspiring. When you are pushing a certain movement or agenda, and you find that you are all alone, right? Most of the people you think are with you, they're actually not there. Why? Because either they are still fence sitters, protecting not to lose their income. They then decide not to be visible in your support. So when that thing really, really, inspired us a lot. It wasn't for the first time I met him. I met him the last time. He was here. I actually opened, a stage in one of the forums for him. But now, I think that confusion might also affect some of us. There's Pan-Africanism. There's Black consciousness. These are two things which are very important that motivated us. But Pan-Africanism has no roots on the continent. I'll tell you why. It cannot move forward because if you are pushing Pan-Africanism, what are you going to replace the governing system with? You don't want to replace it. All you want to create, like Haiti, a black republic as a Pan-Africanist. This is my understanding, unless I'm wrong. So Pan-Africanism and black consciousness are good tools to conscientize our people, but they can never be a form of governing system. A form of governing system for the continent would cause royalty. So most of the Pan-Africanist people avoid that question. It's like they've told themselves that the Western system is only okay when it's controlled by them. When it's called the Black Republic, then it's okay. it's still a betrayal of the ancestor, because you know who are supposed to be ruling this continent, and Amakosi and nobody else. All these people have been avoiding to make that call and make that stand, Sukuti. Power must be returned to our royals and nowhere else. Don't tell us about a Black Republic. I don't want another Haiti. What's a Black Republic? It means we are agreeing that your master created a structure that destroyed Ubkosi. So therefore Ubkosi must die perpetually. You are going to save this structure because this structure empowers me and my so-called philosophy. There's no other philosophy that will be above the philosophy of Makosi. Then the second question going to be 18.
No, the other one was just an appreciation of you.
Oh, sure.
But maybe something maybe you didn't touch on is really the importance of that interaction. But the reason why I'm even asking the question,
I wanted to go there.
Yeah, but it's because
I wanted to go there.
Yes.
Remember, Uma is a Pan-Africanist at the core, right? And the Tina Sikuluma, of course, it's not the first time in Zagala land. Even the first time Umchela, need to stop calling for this Pan-Africanism. You must call for the rise of African royalty. Yeah. So we seem to be crossing lines somewhere there. Because I believe the only structure that must be revived, of course, and with the right kings and queens, not this fake ruling us. They are even afraid to challenge the system, and they should be in the forefront of challenging the system. But they are not doing that because they are in cahoots with the system. They are being paid by the system. They are beneficiaries of the system. Sigu Pitina, where's our land? Amakosi should be answering. But Amakosi are enjoying lama 15,000, 30,000 at our expense. So until they rise up and challenge the system, that's when I will respect them. Togos.
Three more questions. I'm going to take.
Oh, okay.
Sure.
No. Start Mama. I'll be the last one.
I'll start with you.
Sanbonani dumela baete ba ke tlo kopa o bua ka Sesotho le ka Sezulu ke Moafrika papa ke utlwile o bua ka o phahla I'm a very spiritual person who always prays and ke ne ke kopa guidance. The guidance is like this. I grew up without a father in my life.
Yes.
I grew up with a mother in my life and my grandmother.
Yes.
And then now I've got a son in Bariki Mutitwe. So I don't know the rituals. I've got a group of kids, about 100 kids under our organization.
Sure.
I want to teach them about spiritual things. But personally, I don't know the spiritual things that I need to teach myself first because I was never been guided. I was never been mentored.
Sure.
So I would appreciate if maybe I could get a guidance of ha ke phahla ke bitsa bo mang go phahla ke phahlela eng ha ke phahla ke batla go tsagale eng ha ke phahla ke tsebe maybe baba Mkhulu. Ke kopa nana that guidance fela.
Yes, it's Sesotho. Hallelujah. Remember, Kesha Uguti, in the African sense, there's no death.
Yes. Yes.
The spirit never dies.
Yes.
Even science confirms that.
Yes.
You can't destroy anything.
Yes.
So it means that when you are killing me, you are just disturbing the body. The real me is untouchable.
Yes.
So therefore, your father, your mother, whatever, or grandfather continues to live. Right? And some of them, they live through you.
Yes.
Running up and down your spine
Yes.
here. In your DNA.
Yes.
is connected to that. And remember why the third eye is important, the pineal gland. It is the connection for us with the universe. So therefore, Tina, we don't pray siyapahla. Meaning we communicate with this energy. Remember what they say in the Western sense is space, emptiness. That this is full of atoms, right? And remember, atoms are conscious and have memory. So we communicate directly to them. Mengiphahla mina ngikhuluma nabo ngathi ngikhuluma nomuntu ophilayo vele. Ngoba uyaphila, they are alive. It's just that my physical eye can't see them, but the spiritual eye can feel them. You understand? You feel the ancestor. When you invoke the right vibrational frequency of your family tree, they hear you. Remember how beautiful it is when you hear your name being called. That is why it's very dangerous for us to be calling about Julius, about Augustus, because we are then reigniting that energy, which is negative. We must go back and call this month with our African names.
Thank you.
So for you, Kat, look for your family members. I'm sure they are not confined to only Gauteng. Just check where they come from. You'll find that there's a village there of people with your whole, same surname. So go there. They will give you all the steps, the cultural rights of your own clan. This is how we fix this. This is how you do this. So when you sit here, you don't sit and say, they're all gone. I don't have to do anything. You have to do something so that you can teach your children, as well, so that when we are not there, they continue the journey.
Sanibona ngiyabingelela. Ngizumkhulu angakhala ngendaba yokuphahla nokwenzani. Mina ngalahleka kakhulu. Angisho ukuthi ngilahlekile kodwa lokukhuluma konke la ngithathile. Ngizokhuluma ngamakhosi amaningi. Mina ngikhuluma ngelikhosi yale Ethiopia kuthiwa Haile Selassie. Angazi ukukhulu ngathi mhlamba underlineela ngoba mina sengaba uRasta. Rasta abantu basekhosini ngoba la sikhuluma ngokhosi siyeza lokho uyi-royal king and queen. Nami ngenye king ngazi ukuthi le nyathelo ngihamba ngazo. Mkhulu ngayi nguwe.
Yes, ngicela ukuxolisa before. If kukhona abantu will be offended, I'm sorry. Ukhehla ungibuzile what are you a fan ka Haile Selassie? I said no. And I have my reasons. Please be open-minded.
Okay.
In the African sense, or the African way of thinking, nobody can represent the sun on earth.
Yes.
People who are born with certain gifts, or who are born timely to do or perform a specific function, it doesn't make them equated to this. This is one and only creator.
Yes.
And there is not represented by a particular person or individual. So this is where I lose it. With Haile Selassie, with him projecting himself as the son of man or God. That represents Jesus on earth or something. Okay, Ethiopia is Kush. Kush is the foundation of what became Kemet. There could never be Kemet, Egypt, without Kush. This is where it all started. That's why in Ethiopia and Sudan, there are more pyramids than in Egypt. Because they were still, finalizing the technology. By the time they went to Egypt, everything was refined. They had mastered the craft. So therefore, uHaile Selassie promoted Christianity at the expense of African spirituality. On the throne that he was sitting on, he's sitting at the mother place of Kemet. But have you ever heard him promoting Kemet? Huh? No, let's be honest. I said to you, there wouldn't be Kemet without Kush, which is Ethiopia and Sudan. And the writings, the first writings, besides those that are here in South Africa, where the oldest symbol of an ankh is found here in Mpumalanga. At the very same place, besides that, Ethiopia is the second. That is why even those in Kemet, northern Kemet, we call Egypt, they said the place of the beginning is there, down south, at the mountain of the moons. So therefore they were pointing, Boma Lenduza, Ethiopia gave birth to. But now what surprised me, uHaile Selassie never once promoted what is Kemetic philosophy. He then created his own philosophy and made us all follow that. Yeah. And that in a way is removing us from the real source, the real creator, which is the sun. In Egypt, the very same people, they told us that the only creator in the sun is the sun. And the sun and the 9 other principles. That's why science today is talking about there are 9 frequencies, vibrational frequencies that created everything that lives on earth. That is why even our mothers, but twala for 9 months, to allow all those 9 principles to formulate fully in the stomach. Please, Ningpole. He's my brother, he's my brother. Another thing, remember the situation as Ethiopia. If I'm in the situation as Cape Town. We have colored people who are controlling Cape Town now, who are above in number, black African people. Exactly the same thing in Ethiopia. We have that a group of Haile Selassie. Then you have Abo Mengistu. You know Mengistu. Mengistu was one of the Ethiopians that were driven southwards when Abo Haile Selassie took over. They drove the black people, black like us, downwards, Axum. That's where they are. So Abo Lenduza Mengistu started a revolution. That's when Haile Selassie ran to who? Ibrahim, the queen. Elizabeth. So how can you be friends with the queen while the queen is colonizing the whole continent? What are you discussing with the queen? So please, all of Makasha, all.
Samonani, Togoza, Kamala Mutamsana, which means the lucky one. I came late, but Baba, I just have one question, just to deviate, about the identity of Africans. We spoke about the identity of Africans in the diaspora, which is Africa, and all that. But so colonialism today, it's Africa Day. But my question is just one, and I think it's simple. Europeans that eventually moved to Africa, I'll come back to South Africa. They rebranded themselves as Afrikaners. But our brothers in America, they still got a tag, the African Americans. I don't know if that makes sense.
No, yeah.
And obviously Dr. Uma was here. Why Africa, if you're a black man, you still have to carry that connotation. Most America, how do you say particularly America because of the Pacific slave trade, African Americans, but Europeans that move to Africa, they become Africans. Thank you.
It's a sign of not having power. When you are subjugated, you are on the lowest rung. That's why our poverty is the same. Go to Jamaica, go to America, go to England, our life is the same. Why? Because we are not controlling the means of production, we are not controlling the economy. You don't contribute that much. You are just a consumer. They produce things for you. You buy. Do you understand? You haven't mastered the art of solving your own problems. Therefore, you don't deserve to sit on the table with those that feed you. So, it's all about that. It's like here at home. Njengoba silokho sikhala about white people, if they were to live, what are we going to do? Are we going to starve? No. Huh? No. Hey, some of our people are saying those racists who should be leaving South Africa, they mustn't go because we are going to starve. You must starve until you learn how to feed yourself.
Yes.
Until that happens, because we are too comfortable. How can you say you are a nation but you can't feed yourself? You can't clothe yourself. You don't deserve respect. They will call you whatever name. Look at China. China was like us 50, 60 years ago. Look at where they are. They control 2/3 of the stock market in America. They are wealthier than America. Remember, Guti, America lives on debt. The short-term notes that they issue every year. Until you wake up and start feeding yourself, I don't think we deserve respect, to be honest. So let us not blame people who are teaching us or treating the way we deserve to be treated. Because for us to be respected, we must feed ourselves and clothe ourselves. That's the only way we are going to get the respect. Until we do that, and internationally, Uma was saying, Guti, they command the trillions, I don't know, one trillion something, in terms of the circulation of money, or the money they send to white corporations in America. The other year, I think it was 3 years ago, there is this group they identified, they call the Black Diamonds. The affluent middle class black. Hey, they aggregated all your spend that year. It was 600 and something billion. And all that money went to white companies. So you don't deserve respect if you still think like that. Chokozi.
Okay, we're about to close. I'm going to take one comment and then the last question from Sia at the back. And then we're going to wrap it up. So we can start with your comment. And then Yolande after also.
Can you go first?
Okay.
Yeah, you can go first.
Okay. Thokozani.
Thokoza.
Thokoza mkhulu. Thokoza. Mina bengkhulu ekhaya right mafuthi ngiyaza ukukhuluma nomuntu omdala umuzi. Yeah. Mina ngudlamini bafethu.
Ngane yenkosi.
Ngane yenkosi. Mina wakunene.
Thokoza.
Manje ngokuzwile ukhuluma nge-Pan-Africanism nokuthi we must go back. So I want to understand one thing. Pan-Africanism, okay, we talked about it. And then there's kings. And then the kings you also see they are also doing their own things, like in Swaziland. We've heard what the king has been doing there. And Pan-Africanism has laws and all that. They have, if the one who's in charge is doing unlawful things, they could be arrested and all that. But whereas the king, whenever he's doing unlawful things, they can never be constituted or arrested and whatever. So which one is which? Which one is better?
Pan-Africanists or Pan-Africanism or the kings. Because the kings, they can never be arrested and they can do whatever. So for when Mkhulu, your personal opinion, I know this is a personal question, but which one would you prefer?
Thokoza, okay.
Thokoza, Mkhulu.
I think we haven't been given enough knowledge about ourselves.
Yes.
In 1994, we were never given an option
Yes.
that says, here's a governing system that came here with Westerners. And here's your own. This is how it operates. Remember ukuthi undabezitha akayiphethe uphethwe indlunkulu. Undabezitha represents indlunkulu. Ukhuluma, he is speaking on behalf of all his fathers, his elders and everybody. But Undabezitha can't stand up and be a dictator because we are there to put him on the line and say Ndabezitha cha la akusahambi la. Because it's a royalty that represents the people. It's not a royalty which is based on privilege. That I'm the king, therefore I just sit, then my subjects just do. When he's sitting on the throne, we've got to see progress amongst us. Otherwise, he's the wrong person. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So this is how Ubukhosi is governed. What is called Indlunkulu, Luqoqo, Eswazini, Qoko. Those are people that are representing ego as it different. It's like certain local, structures are represented in that Ndlunkulu. That's why it's called the Great House. It's because this is where all the representatives, of the people in the general community meet and discusses. It's only those kings and queens that are ruling by ego who will rule with a very heavy arm on their people. And they show hate, not love. They show disrespect themselves. Because when you're disrespecting your own people, you are disrespecting yourself. You see. So we are not being given the proper knowledge and information. That is why we would rather settle for the worst thing that we know. Like a lot of people are hating us for calling the Republic of South Africa crime against humanity. And it's not only us that said that, it's the UN in 1974. So people are used to lies. It's lies that rules and dominates our society. The truth is always hidden. Black royalty is painted as these evil people that just kill without accountability and all those things. So it's completely wrong. We are going to put that education system in the school system ourselves.
Amen.
Like a Bayville, we've agreed non-visit. As soon as he sits on the throne, we devise a plan on shutting down all the schools.
Lebo.
So that we open them with the African-centered content. Hey. So it's all that planning that needs to be done. There's got to be a social re-engineering. Because what we know as education is actually poison.
Yes.
Hey, it's poison. Why? Because if I'm doing something that doesn't resonate with the core of my being, I'm killing myself slowly.
Yes.
Because I'm unhappy at work. I'm not performing the best. Why? Because what is inside doesn't resonate with what is inside. You need to live by your purpose or talent. Something that you do without being paid.
Yes.
Then you are living You are living when you are doing that.
Yes.
Hey, in the now, yes.
Yes.
Instead of doing this other thing, remember the history of education. Rockefeller. Hey, Rockefeller said, I don't want thinkers, I want workers. Hey, produce people that will fulfill the work in the factories. Not people are going to question me. I don't want to be questioned. I want people to take orders.
Yes.
That's the foundation of Western education.
Yeah.
So it's corrupted right from the start.
Yeah.
It wasn't meant to polish what is innate within you. What comes naturally. You know, in the Zulu or African, we say, into ifumbethe. This is what we need to dig within you and polish that so that you become a complete person. You can live anywhere in the world as long as we polish that. So our education system is developing what is inside, not bringing things from outside inside. What is education?
Poison.
Bringing out. Huh? That's what it means. Bringing out. Bringing something out. Meaning that something from within. But what do Rockefellers do? They force you to internalize something which is from outside. That's why they say Africans are stupid. They can't learn. This doesn't resonate with the core of our being. We should be understood from that point of view. So that's why we need to change this educational system. There's no content that competes with Africa when it comes to literature. It's just that we are ruled by people who are ignorant of Africa. There's no continent that competes with African literature. We don't need any foreign literature. We have our own that resonates with us. How we taught mathematics, how we taught science. Look at the Dogon people. They knew about the Series A and Series B before Kepler. How did we know that? We went there spiritually and came back and reported, this is how things are there. You know, Westerners came with their, they found and confirmed what the Dogons knew all along. So, okay.
Closing. You want to say something in closing?
Nyatolisa, and I'm sorry for if I ever wasted your time.
Not at all.
No waste time.
Yeah, I forgot your name. You spoke about family, the same name.
Hey.
I am a woman. Soweto. I was born in Lesotho, Kobutabote. I disowned my family in 2001, my father's family side, because I discovered that they used black magic. Yes. So you wanna phahla with the surname that is killing, that might even kill you. But I won't go deeper into that, man. But you don't really need, if ever you're a spiritual being, if your third eye is open, you know what is light, you know what is dark. That is, there's only two things in the world, darkness or the light. So if you are following the light will lead you. And the more you are hungry for the light, your eye will open. And Uputu kulme nye Rastafarian and the culture. Do you know what is religion? Religion is that if Mkhulu khona la and we think, we feel good, so Mkhulu is talking sense, and yeah, he is talking sense, but now you feel like Mkhulu is feeding my hungry soul. Do you know what Mkhulu, if he's an opportunist, will do? He'll create a religion. You come in Mkhulu's house, he will tell you to buy candles. He'll tell you to buy salt. He'll tell you to buy holy water. If Mkhulu is an opportunist, but if Mkhulu is here to feed us spiritually, he'll give us the food. We eat, we are okay. Mkhulu walks away. He's not doing it for money. Yeah. And then Uputu Kulume, he said other things, you know? Like, I'm going to tell you about me. I dream of Dr. Sebi. Who knows Sebi here?
Me too.
I see Sebi in my dreams. I've got over 200 plants on my on my presentation every day. Ne? I've dealt with people. There was a woman with thyroid. There was a woman with diabetes. There was a woman what is no?
Fibroid.
She couldn't conceive. Yeah, but Mkhulu, I work in Sentin. I stay in the Val. This distance, ne? No, I drive, ne? But when I'm driving Mkhulu, there's a part where I stop because there's a plant that attracted my soul, my third eye. I don't know what it is. I stop. You know I'm wearing Brazilian, but it's not me. It doesn't define me. I know who I am.
You're smoking some good stuff.
No!
Wow, I want some of that stuff.
No! Mkhulu, you spoke about the sun. Do you know what is in depression medication? There's a high dose of vitamin D, which is from the sun. You don't have to take the pills. Go outside and get the sun. Get the sun. That's all you need. Mkhulu, I used to before my third eye was open, I used to give in charity. Then I stopped the day when a news reporter was standing behind a cactus tree. Africa is hungry, Barbara, reporting, please. You know, I was watching, I'm like, this woman is standing behind water and food. That's cactus. No, Africa is not hungry. Africa is ignorant. Africa is ignorant. She is standing behind cactus. You grill cactus. I grill this prickly pear from it's a fruit, but the actual cactus, you grill that thing from the fire. You eat. That's your meal. After doing that, that thing gives you water. Yeah, you spoke about indigenous. There are about over 500 indigenous plants on earth. Even the lion eats meat. But when the lion is wounded, where does it go? To the plant. Africa is ignorant, it's not hungry. Thank you.
Oh, kuphela nje before uvala Kat. Ngibonge nami, ngiyabonga kakhulu for giving me time, you know, all of you, for me to say what I feel. You know, what is inside us is not hate but love. Because we believe when we love each other, we would feel the pain of knowing that I'm sleeping in a mansion and somebody you know, is freezing, or the water has just come in. So what we have experienced, you know, from 94, especially from white communities, in Tanzania there are very few who are genuine about really feeling the pain that people in concentration camp feel. Because what we expected in 94 is that those people will have a conscience and come and establish operations here in townships to improve the lot of black people. So that when that didn't happen, it then increased the anger that we feel. Because it's like they are enjoying our poverty and they are enjoying the privilege and the success at our expense. So it's the reason why we have to speak the truth, because we want to have a long-term solution for Africa, not a meal peace. You know, things that have been done ever since Kwame Nkrumah. A meal peace. Why? Because we are not touching the roots of the problem. The roots of the problem must be uprooted first. Then everybody is in harmony. Thokozini.
Right, we've come to the final part. We're about to close. But there's someone that I don't want to leave outside. I think the bus is leaving and someone is not in the bus with us. Okay. So I'm going to take just the last one, the last final one. Africa can just...
For all African children, especially who live in these concentration camps, townships, whatever, what's the solution? How can we fight mental poverty and poverty, how can we redress injustices of Europeans? Because where we are, it's because of Europeans. We can talk about corruption, but it's only few years. But for black children in the townships like us, we are children of the people who have been exploited and oppressed and called monkeys, whatever, and still being called monkeys because we're black. So what's the solution for us? I'm not talking about politicians, because obviously they're corrupted. So what can we do in the spaces where we live and we work, where we are born? What can we do? Because currently we are parents and we feel like abantwana bethu nabo bazobizwa imfene because bamnyama yabo. Sure.
It's very simple. Develop self-love.
Yes.
Yeah, love.
Yes.
Yes. Join movements like the Great Empire of Kemet.
Yeah.
Get out of religion and politics.
Yes.
Go into movements that are really truly uniting. Because the Great Empire of Kemet is seeking this black unity. So that when we are united, we will operate like the Indians and the Jews. We will also ring fence our economy. Meaning that we will start feeding ourselves.
Yes.
When we go to a supermarket, and if they look for kosher and halal, Tina will look for a patch umpah. If it doesn't have if it doesn't have umpah, we don't buy. Simple. Hey, but remember, you won't be able to get to that level with a colonized mindset. Every Sunday, we give lectures free in Orlando East. Every Sunday. And we're trying to mobilize, remember, money in the African sense follows spirit.
Yes.
It's not the other way around. Meaning, Goti, we need to ground ourselves in our spirituality and visit these, sacred sites like in Zalo Elang. All of you, 23 September. Inzalo Elanga is the holiest of holies on the continent. That's what Bob Credo said.
Yes.
This is where the electromagnetic field of Earth moves.
Yeah.
Do you understand? So when you are going there, you are balancing your atoms.
Yeah.
You come back there healed.
Yes.
And you go to, now we are going to Durban at Bluff. Bluff, this is where the root chakra of Earth is.
Sure.
So you need to visit these sacred sites. They are based on the 4 cardinal points.
Okay.
East, north, west, south. You need to follow the sun like that. That is how you revive your power. Your power, you can never get it through physical means.
Yes.
No toying will bring back our land. But umpahla will bring back our land. Because we'll make things, easy for such kings to sit on their throne. Then they will give us balance. Do you understand? So don't look at, this is what I normally say, that don't be imprisoned by your wants, what you don't have. Work for the spirit.
Yes.
And the spirit will make sure that you never starve. Especially when you follow the African calendar.
Yes.
Because you are always in alignment. Thokoza.
Okay, want to ask Maria, who's got a present for you, Matala. So
Ah!
I want Maria to bring it closer so we can present
I
it.
go.
Thokoza Mkhulu.
Yes, as a sign of our appreciation, we always have something that we give
No,
to
Togos.
our guest of honor.
No,
which is
Togos.
Mkhulu tonight.
No, Togos.
Do you want to
Maybe I
present?
can explain the grains.
Do that? Yeah.
This is rosemary.
Oh.
Wow.
Oh, ne anka.
Rosemary is good for memory. Those who don't know. So if you drink rosemary, it's going to help you with memory.
Yeah.
So the symbolism for me putting the ink on the rosemary for today is for us to have this as a memory. So the symbolism is for us to not forget today.
Yes.
And cherish it in our hearts and keep it in our brain frames forever. So this is for you.
We also have a candle. So it's significant for keeping the fire burning. You are someone who is on fire. We want that fire to continue. Yeah.
Ah, no, man. You know, normally I'll speak the truth. Wherever I address, there's never white people. Never. So I'm not used to this.
She's not white.
No, I'm just trying to explain my position.
Yes.
But you see, today she made it easy for me.
Yeah.
Her opening remarks
Yes.
that says all of us yini.
Yeah.
The problem that we have is denial.
Yes. Yes.
To think that this racism
No,
is
it's
just
not.
for social control.
Yes, it is.
So that those that have captured the weaker ones must stay on top.
Yeah.
But when it comes to science, remember, when people have a melanin but at a lesser degree, it doesn't mean they don't have.
Yeah.
Do you understand? So she made it easy for me, Nyabonga. Really, angijwayelanga mina. Angijwayelanga really. Kahle, angihambele belungu. Do you understand? But manje ngoba, you know what I'm scared of? I am segment. This is my principle. And I can never speak lies. Why? Because I'm afraid of you. Do you understand?
Yes.
If you love me, you must love me with my truth. The truth that I say.
Yes.
Do you understand? So I don't want to be, when I'm in a company of people, then I'm talking, then other people get affected.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
Offended.
It means, Uguti, we are not ready to confront the truth. Because this is the truth that Africa must live. You know, black people have got to articulate. We have so much anger.
Yes.
And that anger is justifiable.
Yes.
Instead of things for us to become better, they're becoming worse. And we witnessing. Look at Alexander and Sentin. Where's Ubuntu in that relationship? No. Just a freeway separating people. This other side is infested with the rats. This is posh. There can never be future in that.
Exactly.
Because those that are that side are going to revolt. And they will ban everything. Because they've got nothing to lose.
Yeah.
So please, I'm really happy. Siyabonga ukuthi you open like that.
Yes.
You made me comfortable. And thank you for the gift.
Where do I deliver a gift to Mkhulu? I want to deliver a gift to Mkhulu. I've got a gift from Mkhulu. But I didn't come prepared.
We are officially, we are officially gonna close here now, and then we can interact. You can come through. Okay. Please do that.
Thank you.
Anyone who wants to network, ask any additional questions. You know, we are all thought-provoked. You know, we also have some beautiful stalls and some, very, some literature that can conscientize us all outside here. So please have a look. Also support our traders out there if you can.
Please.
And
no, so we will be making a mistake if we are not remembering Lebo.
Yes.
We are all here because of Lebo. An entrepreneur, you know, amongst us that rose up and saw debt and say, oh, in that debt, there's opportunity. That's why we are here. So please, 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 the spirit of Lebo must always, because I think it's alive here. You know, when you come in here, the tranquility you feel, you know, and that was the character of Lebo. That is why Ancestral. I mean, I haven't met Lebo, but I read about him. He's visionary, you know, ideas. This is what propelled him. So, Lebo. 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 Lebo.